All right. So how you feel about your friends that don't support you?
So I think people got to realize that we can all support each other. It don't really hurt to support one another, and that's one of the reasons why I actually do the spotlight segment of my podcast, because I feel there's other ways to support. So one of my buddies that does art, I had him on like the week before I had you,
Yep.
and I had my brother-in-law had inboxed me and said, "Yo, I really like his art. I'm really going to go and like cop from him." Now, although I didn't directly set that play up, other eyes got on my homie where other people saw his art that didn't see it in other capacities. So I mean, we can support one another without necessarily having to monetarily support somebody's stuff. So like even with your podcast, when you said you had a podcast, I instantly went watched. So yeah, I posted it because it don't cost me nothing to screenshot. Yo, I just watched this podcast and it was dope. I really, even if I didn't know you, just the concept around it itself was dope. It was nothing to repost that. And then I think I watched yours, one of my other homies, I watched his podcast, screenshotted as I was watching it and posted that I saw it. That didn't cost, I mean, that was maybe 3 seconds worth of effort. I mean, that cost me nothing.
I try to, I'm big on us people, like our people, black people.
Right.
So anytime I see like our folk got like a product or anything, like I'll repost it, podcast, anything. Just because even if it's a product that I don't like or I won't use,
right.
I understand that it could be somebody else that might gravitate towards it or might need it. You know what I'm saying? No matter what, it could be. If a chick is selling wigs, I'm obviously not wearing wigs, but it could be. I understand. Like I have a following, I got like 1,500 followers. So if one of them like it and then tell another 100 people, like that's a sell for them. That's eyes on their product. Even back to my friend Shakira, so she sells hair oil, which I use. I use in my beard and stuff, and I use now in Jordan's hair. But I have reposted it, and my best friend, the wedding I went to in Cleveland, his wife saw it, and she reached out, got some oil. I took oil with me to Cleveland when I went. You know what I'm saying? So like it's just like you said, it takes nothing to like to repost or to show. You know, it's because we repost other people's shit that we don't know.
Right.
And I noticed, at least for me, like especially with like my podcast, honestly, so like all my family listens and everything, which is really great. But I noticed, a lot of my friends listen. But what I noticed is, I won't say like my super close friends listen. They tap in every now and again.
Right.
But a lot of my friends that listen are people that I either met on social media or I met through doing this.
Right.
Like they the ones that are like constantly reaching out, or people that I went like to high school with.
Right.
Or, I know like my close friends, they listen, but they not reposting. Not that they have to or anything.
Right.
But I notice like all the energy and love and like feedback I get are from people that I don't talk to on a daily basis and stuff like that.
It's funny that you mentioned it because I told you that I made a post where I said I'm looking for co-host to co-host an episode of my show, and I noticed about 40 different comments. And I said, these comments not matching the views. So how you looking to be on my show as a co-host, but you're not tapping into my show? And what's also funny about what you said about the people that view your show, I went to a Halloween party for the network a couple weeks ago, and a guy, when I walked in, he was like, yo, Ant. Now, I noticed him from watching other people's podcasts on the network where he taps in and he'll talk every once in a while where I'll see him in the comments. He was like, yo, I really enjoy your show. Like, your show is dope as shit. I like the concept behind it. Just the way it's formatted. I really enjoy it. I was like, oh shit, you be watching? He was like, yeah. You don't see me in the comments? I was like, it's kind of limited, the comments that I see, but I really appreciate you watching because you don't have any real connection to me. He was like, he said, I like your personality. When I see you on other shows, there's always good conversation. And he was like, yo, I just think your show was really dope. And I was like, that meant a lot because you don't have to show me that support.
Right. Yeah. I think it's, like you said, it costs nothing to really, to show support. And to go back to what you were saying about, like the comments not matching the views. I remember I was somewhere a few weeks ago and someone asked me like to come on and be, hey, Ron, can I come on your show? And I was like, I'm always open to anyone to come on. But then they turned to ask me like what my podcast was about. And I immediately was just like, in my mind, I was just like,
flabbergasted.
No, like you don't even like how you want to come. You don't even know what's going on here. You know what I'm saying? And they proceeded to ask me like what it was about, and I explained it or anything. But it was just like, how can you want to come be a part of something that you don't even know like what my focus is,
right?
Or, like what I'm trying to bring attention to, or anything like that. So. This is definitely not a place to just come and like talk shit about your baby dad or your baby mom.
My baby mom ain't shit. Yeah. It ain't that type of vibe.
Yeah, but like it's just that's not what it's for. It's really like it's a safe space. It's exactly what it is. But it's not. I don't need to get any negative ratings because you came on here and you like started fucking East versus West Coast rivalry. Like I don't need.
Look, I actually had somebody do the same sort of similar thing. A guy was like, yo, I definitely need to be on your podcast. And I was like, I'm trying to figure out why you saying you definitely need to be on the podcast. Right. But I mean, all right, whatever. So he tagged me to a post and was like, somebody need to talk about how these baby moms ain't shit. And I was like, you're never going to get played on my joint. Like, I know me and my daughter mom have had beefs over the years, but that's been more personal than like things that I can say about her as a mother. We might have different philosophies, but she's a great mom. I won't take that away from her at all. But you're never going to get a bashing session out, a baby mom bashing session out of me, because in every situation that I've seen, there's always something about that person that can be changed as well. And that's why, like, I'm not a finger pointer.
Right.
I've realized that even with my disagreements with my daughter mom, there's been times where she came back and said, well, really, nigga, this, that, and the third about you. And I'm like, well, damn, I didn't really look at that. Right. So I try to keep things as fair as possible as well, with that being said. But yeah, people, it don't cost nothing to support.
And when it comes to like the dynamic of like mom versus dad, even like whatever my personal feelings are about like their moms, I definitely make sure I don't share it with them.
Right.
Only one I had that conversation with is my 19-year-old. That's because she's of age and we can talk about different shit now.
Right.
But I don't think there's nothing good gonna come out of me telling like Jordan, your mom is not a good mom. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's more opinionated than anything, for real.
Yeah.
Like I don't, you know what I'm saying? Because like whether I had a good mom or not, like I don't know what a good mom is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I really like who am I to judge? Like my job is to be a dad and to show up as a dad.
Right.
And ultimately kids figure out on their own who's doing what. And
thanks. They always want to figure out.
So, but that also leads me to because this is something that I struggle with. I tell people all the time, I'm a horrible co-parent, but my situation allows me to be because my kids are like, except one of my kids are with me.
Right.
So I don't want to sound like it's a dictatorship, but it's more of I just don't have to deal with certain things because we have a piece of paper that says that I don't.
Right.
So my question to you is like, how do you co-parent? What's the good, the bad? What's the pros and cons?
It's funny because I actually had that as a question I'm gonna do on my podcast further on down the line too. But as far as the co-parenting goes for me, the good aspect of it is me and my daughter's mom. We were for a long time. I would say probably until like a couple incidents between us recently. We were like friends. So she would call and sometimes we would just bust it up about stuff that didn't even have to do with my daughter. I mean, she's called me for advice on her other baby father before. Okay. So we had that type of relationship, I would say, until probably about the last year. But co-parenting that's the good part about it. I would say the bad is when you grow up from a different background than that other person. Like both of our parents were married. Her parents got divorced when she was like 16, but she was used to growing up in a 2-parent household, but that 2-parent household was also very toxic. Right. Whereas I didn't grow up in a toxic environment. My parents, when they had disagreements, they would always have those disagreements behind closed doors. The only thing I would see my parents argue about would be like stupid shit like, nah, Scooby-Doo, he did have a nephew on that show. He did. Like, it would be shit like that they would argue about. But just with that being said, it's hard co-parenting with somebody that just has a different philosophy than you, which is always going to be different. Right. But that's the bad part. I would say the neutral part is just chartering into going into uncharted territory with a child and this other person, and y'all experiencing it together, and it's just like sometimes we both looking like, yo, what the fuck?
Right. like what's going on?
Like my daughter's mom called me one time. I'll never forget. People, if you follow me, you'll know the infamous CC video where I had her outside sweeping the rain. But
what?
Yeah, I made my daughter sweep the rain.
What the fuck? What's the story behind that?
So my daughter, she's on a school bus.
Okay.
She has these scissors in her hand. Now her mother had took these scissors from her like a week or so prior to this, and she filmed the scissors. So she's on a bus, right? Little girl comes up to her and she's looking. So you know how somebody get in his personal space, you like go like, you like yo go ahead.
Back
She
up.
didn't go back up. She might have went to go like this, but actually said swipe across this little girl's face. She gets suspended. So, and my first thought was you were on a bus. That could have been that little girl's eye.
Yeah.
So she got suspended. I ended up having to drive back to Philly on a Thursday because her mom used to be a wraparound, so you know it ain't no school in the summertime.
Right.
So she's like, "Yo, I just got back to work. I need you to watch CC." So I'm like, "All right." She's like, "I mean, it's your weekend anyway, but I need you to come back here and have her tomorrow because I can't take off."
Okay.
So I'm like, "All right." So when I came back, I said, essentially, you like to do dumb shit. This is what I'm gonna do for you. Go outside, sweep the rain. She was like, "When do I stop? When all the rain is gone." But yeah, that was a weird ass scenario. We both sitting there like, "Yo, what the fuck?" The school like, "Well, we need to have a conference with both parents. Also, we have to talk to the head priest. We don't know if we're gonna allow her to come back into school." And I'm like, "Dog, what?" And she like, "Yo, what?" I'm like, I don't know what to do either. I never had to deal with this.
Kids they don't understand like the real consequences of their actions because they kids, like they don't get it. Like they just think like, oh, you know what I mean? Like I can just come back to school next day and everything's fine.
No, it ain't like that, shorty.
No. like you might come back to school and there be some police. Like
right.
This can go so many different ways. So
yeah.
Man, I mean, I think that's dope that you said that y'all like able to sit on the phone. I would say for me, like my teenagers, because they're teenagers, there's very little me and their mom ever have to discuss.
Yeah.
And it just really isn't. My 9-year-old, even though she's with her mom more than she's with me, it's literally set up like our order is designed so that we don't really have to have any contact unless she's sick or it gotta be something serious.
Right.
Like the other day she texted me like she chipped her tooth at the playground or something, which I didn't think she needed to text me, but thanks for reaching out.
Right.
And then my youngest, actually me and her mom probably talk the most, which is weird because in that situation is where that's the least amount of support.
Okay.
But that's neither here nor there. But like. Yeah, I don't. So I can't say I'm a good co-parent. I'm probably a shitty co-parent. Like I don't co anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
And even if I had to, I just wouldn't. Like I'm very much about like I care about my mental health and my peace.
Right.
I'm very much about like let me worry about what goes on in my house as long as like their safety and health is not compromised when they're with the other parent. Like I'm cool. Like I can't because we unfortunately we just. It could be a lack of maturity. We just not in a space where we can do that. So that's talk on the phone. Let my phone ring and voicemail. Like it's just you know what I mean because I need a record of what you about to say.
Right.
But yeah, man. I mean,
I
again,
definitely understand that.
So I mean that pretty much wraps us up. I want to like just tell you thanks for you coming on. I appreciate you taking 90 minutes of your time.
Not a problem at all.
Like this is actually my longest episode.
Okay.
Dope. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I love your podcast.
Appreciate it. And likewise.
Your podcast is like that live aspect is like that is like I told you I would cringe because I always sit and worry like what if I saw like one of my kids' mom's name pop up like he logged on to the chat I'm like oh my god like producer cut it off but yeah man I think you bring a lot of attention and awareness and stuff. You are a active black father.
Appreciate it.
Opposite of what they try to put out there about us, and yeah, you productive man. You're not here selling drugs, none of that. Like and
sometimes I wish I was.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Inflation hurting.
Yeah, listen, ain't nothing to do in jail, man. I told you, ain't no sports center, ain't no Dove soap, and it ain't no girls there. So
yeah, that's true. I definitely value my freedom.
I'm not going, but yeah, man. Again, thanks for coming on, and go ahead and plug yourself. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Listen, y'all can find me at the Ant Money Experience on IG. On Facebook, Ant Rockemore, that's ROCKEMORE. Ladies, my DMs are open. Listen, I'm out here, ladies. But yeah, definitely the podcast, unlike any other. Come through, check me out. The Big Exclusive Network. You can find us at the Big Exclusive Network on Facebook. And on YouTube, you can find us at the Big Exclusive Network as well. And come check me out. Have a good time with me every Thursday, 7 p.m. live.
Yeah, it's a live podcast, y'all will really enjoy it. Trust me. So check that out. Look out for that this week. And again, thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. I appreciate y'all. And until next time, peace.